In this video, I am going to be going over how you actually work to create and embed a Mailchimp form into your final project website. Because if you recall in reading through the instructions, it talks about we're not going to be creating a form on our own. We're going to be using Mailchimp, which will allow us then to, in essence, create a list and then send out emails. This is all part of the funnel plan. The idea would be that they would be coming from one of your marketing channels, coming to your landing page that would then take them to the subscribe or sign up page, depending on what you call it. And that sign up page then would be using Mailchimp, and that's how we would be able to track that they made it all the way through the funnel. The first thing we need to do is to actually go out to Mailchimp. And here I am out at Mailchimp. I have already logged in, so go ahead and do that. And the thing that we need to do is based on the lab that you just did, you will need to go into your lists. You've already got one created, so I'm going to go click on lists. And this is where we will find the form piece. So here is the little list that I created. As you can see, it's got 0 subscribers at this moment. You probably have 2, me and you. See, click on the list. And that will bring you to a page that looks something like this. And where we're going to be focusing our efforts is in this sign up forms. So let's click on that. And you're going to see there are some different options. So there is subscriber pop-up, embedded, and general. Where we're going to be focusing here is in this embedded forms. So I'm going to click on that. And by default, this is what you will see. You'll just have a default title. It'll look for an email address, first name, last name, and a subscribe button. And what you can do is copy this code, all of this that's in here, and paste it right into your own website. This isn't the information that I need on my form, so I need to go in and do some editing. So the way that we can do that is there's this edit required fields in the form builder. I don't know, there's probably other ways to navigate to it, but this is where I found it, this works for me. So I'm going to go into that, and you'll see that what I'm going to be doing is modifying what my sign up form looks like. And by default, here it is, and it's going to give me the ability to add some additional information. So I know that I need, one of the things that I was asking for was a phone number. They have a phone number option. I can simply click it, and the screen will refresh. It'll be down here. It says phone number. I don't actually need to change that at all. Then I need to go up. I'm going to go to add a field. I need a couple other things. I need the location. So I need just a text field. And I'm going to go down here. I need to edit this. And so by default, it'll pop me over after add a field. There's also field settings, and this is the one I'm on, and so, let's see, mine is the location of your siting. That's all I need to change with that, and so I'm going to go down and save field. It will refresh, and there is my information. So now I need to go back and add, I've got a couple more fields. I need a date, because I wanted the date of my siting. If you recall, my website is my Sasquatch site. There's my untitled. I need to go and change that, and I'm just going to call it the date of siting, and then I'm going to save that field. And I have one more, so I'm going to go to add a field, and I'm going to do text. And the one thing that I didn't like that I noticed in here is they don't have the ability. I wanted a big comment box. I don't see a space for that. They have it to enter a website. You can add an image, phone, zip code, address, birthday. You can see all of these different options, but this is just simply a text field versus a text area, but I'll work with it. And that's what I recommend you do as well if you needed that. So I'm going to go back down here, make sure that this is highlighted, and go into my field settings. And I am just going to say provide a description. Now, while I'm in here, some of the other things that you're going to notice, leave this field tag alone. That's what they use for the embed piece, so I don't touch that. Then you can always change whether you want them to be required or not. In my case, I'm just going to save this right now, and we're going to go through these fields. The only one that I want to be required is my email address. So I clicked on it. Email address, you're going to see that is a required field in Mailchimp because that's how you're adding people to your list. Okay, so now I have everything that I need for my form. If you want to go further, there is this design it, translate it's actually a paid fee, so we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to go back to my sign up forms. It'll bring me here. I'm going to go back to my embedded forms. And now when you see the preview, there's going to be my email address, first name, last name that was there, but there's my phone number, the location, date, and provide a description. So now I have all of the information that I need. So now I can actually go and copy and paste all of this information. So I'm going to highlight all of this and I'm going to copy. Then we need to go over to our web file. So this will be, in your case, it'll be a PHP file. I haven't done my includes yet, so disregard that it says HTML, but yours is going to be on whatever your subscribe, sign up, contact, whatever you call that page. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, I am in my Dreamweaver file where I have this set up. And actually, before I do this, I'm just going to show you what my page looks like. So we're going to go and do a preview in Google Chrome. Here is my page so far. I have my navigation. I have the report a sighting today with the brief amount of information I wanted, and I had the other information that I wanted to include on this page. It's all already there. So all I need to do is add my form. So I'm going to go do that. So let's go to Dreamweaver. And remember, I copied all of that information. So where it needs to go, in my case, is in the section. There's that report a sighting, and then there's the provide the information, and here's my closing section tag. So it actually needs to go in between here. I'm just going to give it a lot of space just so that I can see it, and you're going to see what all this code looks like. So I'm going to paste. There is all of my Mailchimp code they created, and they nicely include a comment at the top and at the very bottom so you know where it starts and stops. So let's save this, and I'm going to go back out to my browser and refresh, and there it is. So notice it's not really pretty. It doesn't completely fit. It's pulled in this H2, but I don't need it because I have this report a sighting today up here. So what I'm going to do is go in and do some styling to fix this. And this is one thing that you can really make it so that it customizes and looks good with your site. So let's go take care of that. The first thing that I want to do is right up here. So here's the beginning of my Mailchimp code. First thing they have here is this ID style set up as an embedded style. The background is white. I don't want white. My background is not white. So I'm going to delete that and I'm going to change it to transparent because then it will mean exactly that. It'll be transparent. The font size of 14 is fine, but this isn't what my text is. If I go over to my style sheet, I will see here is the text that I am actually using. So I'm just going to copy that and bring it over. And what they've done is this is kind of a shortcut where you can see it just says font and then it gives it a size and then it gives the font family. So I just need to replace the font family piece. So I'm just going to highlight that and paste right over the top of it. I'm going to save. Now let's go take a look at what it looks like after we just did those couple things. See, that's already better because it fits with the rest of my site. Yes, this is all squished together and I don't like what it looks like, and we'll fix that. The other thing is now I want to get rid of this little H2 that's here. So let's go back into Dreamweaver and go find it. So let's see, that's where it opened. We need to leave all this stuff. There's that H2. I don't need this H2. So I'm just going to delete it and get it out of there. And we're going to save it. And let's take a look. It's gone. This is better. This is what we need. Okay, so now what we need to do is I wanted to add some styling to this. And I will tell you, I already went ahead and did a bunch of the styling ahead of time because I didn't think you needed to sit and watch me do it. Let's go kind of get the overview of what we need to do. So here is the style sheet. Let's go all the way down to the bottom. You can see this is where I have it. And I do recommend that you include a comment to yourself to know that these are the styles for Mailchimp. So what I'm going to do is close this comment right here and show up some of this stuff, but I don't want all of it showing up yet. So we'll work through this. So the first thing that I did is I decided that those boxes, the fields that you enter information were too close together. See how they're really squished like this? I decided I didn't like that. What I did, go back to our HTML, is I discovered that they were all in this thing called an MC, Mailchimp obviously, dash field dash group, and it was a class style. So I created a class style for that. The only one that was different that just says that it indicates required, and this is the little text that says, you know, that the asterisk next to something indicates that it's a required field. I created a style group that included a class, there's my period, indicates required, there's a comma, and then another class of MC field group, and I just simply put a margin bottom of 12 pixels. I played around with that, and I'm just going to save this, and we're going to go take a look. So if I refresh this, there, instantly it's already looking better because I've added some spacing in between. So let's go look at some other things, because I can tell you one of the other things I added is these labels. In my Photoshop, they were bold, and that's kind of what I'd like them to be to stand out. So let's go back here. Let's look just at one of these because they're all set up the same. So here, for example, is the MC field group for the email address, the very first field. And you will see all of them have a label, and the label is just the text that shows up. So what I did with my label is I decided that I wanted the font weight to be bold, and I also didn't like how squished up to the right-hand side. Let's go take a look here real quick. See how the text and the box are right next to each other? I didn't like that, so I added a margin right on the label of 12 pixels, and again, I just kind of played with what that was. So we'll save that, go back out here, and refresh. Trust me, this is bold. It's different. It's just this particular font isn't a very heavy font, but so we have that. Now it's bold, we have some space, this is looking better. The other thing that I wanted is I don't want this to say subscribe. To match my website, I wanted it was a gradient, and it was in green to match the greens that are up here. Let's go take care of those couple of things. Let's go back into Dreamweaver, and the first thing is I said I didn't want it to say submit, and that's fine. You can leave it at submit, that or subscribe, that's fine. Here is the button. It's this div class, actually, and then we see input type submit, value subscribe, name subscribe, and then the rest of the information. There's a couple things that we need to pull out of this to make our changes. The first is value. Value is what shows up on the page. So I'm just simply going to change this to submit your citing because I know that's what I wanted it to say. So I'm just going to save that, and we're going to go take a look, and you can see that I changed that value. So that's going to change the wording that's there so it fits with what I want. Okay, and the other thing that we wanted to do was we actually wanted to change the look of this button. So we've already changed this. So we need to pay attention. We have class button. So that's the style that I created, but I'm thinking it would probably be better to make this a complex style because mine I just did button because it's the only button on my page and on my website right now. But if you're going to have multiple buttons, which I know some of you do, then it would probably be better to make a complex style. So we need to see what is this class's parent. And if we remember from positioning, we talked about that whole idea of parents. And so if I keep scrolling up, because I know these are all divs that are all within it, I need to find the thing that kind of groups our whole form together. That'll be right up here at the top. So this is that div ID MC embed sign up. So that's the parent to this. So I know that there's this ID style. So let's go make a complex style for our button and give it all the styles that we want. Okay, so I'm over on my style sheet, and here is the last. I'm going to uncomment this. And I had a bunch of little comments in here, so we'll go and undo these. Everything is now back. We can see it. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail of what I did here, but here is my class button. So you can see it's period button. Unfortunately, this would apply to any and every button on my website. So what I need to do is we said we're going to make this a complex style, and it was an ID, and I copied, paste, and then a space, and then dot button. So now if we save this, everything that's in here will work. And I'm just going to give you a rundown of what I did, but everybody's web pages are different, so please don't copy this. This is just what fit with the design of my site. Do what works for your site. So in my case, I wanted a rounded edge button, so it's got a border radius, And then I did a whole gradient. So if you remember when we worked on gradients several weeks ago, there is my gradient. It's just 2 shades of green. I gave it a border. I gave it some padding so that the text isn't right up to the edges, changed the font color, transformed it so it's all uppercase, and then I wanted some margin on the top and bottom of my button so it wasn't quite so squished up. So if I save this and we go over to our browser, so this is what we're paying attention to, is here's our button, and if I refresh, there it is with my styles. So this is a completely embedded form from Mailchimp. So that's the first half of what we need to do.